Hello, welcome to a new episode. It's been a while, I think almost 2 weeks. But let's just go straight into funworld. And I mean, there's multiple reasons for why I really haven't recorded in a while. The main one is just that I procrastinate. But I've also been sick, so I have a good excuse as well. Either way, while we're waiting for this stuff to load, you should subscribe to the channel so you see more videos like this. Oh, I had forgotten I was making a quarry. Nice project. Something good to work on. It looks pretty good, right? The sheep is looking at me. Oh, I lost interest. Okay, it's leaving. Yeah, so I'm still a little bit under the weather, I would say. But it's getting better. I'm feeling good, and getting better is always like the trajectory is so important. So I'm actually oh, beautiful sunset. I'm actually feeling better now than usual because I was so feeling so bad before. Now it's getting, I'm getting upwards and onwards. Really nice sunset and like framed with the woods in the background. Beautiful. But yes, I'm feeling very good. I'm still like kind of a little bit sniffly or whatever, but not a big deal. Not a problem at all. Beautiful music. And today I thought I was gonna just do a bit of a meta thing because I've not really developed a bunch of my ideas of what I want to talk about, but I've wrote down a lot of different ones that have been on my mind. All right, the moonrise, sunset, and so I just thought I would talk about the different topics that I would like to make a video over. So very meta, but good thing to talk about, and maybe putting it out in the world, manifesting it, will help actually making them. Obviously, like part of the appeal of these videos for me is that it's kind of like a bit like a diary for me. I collect my thoughts there. I talk about things that I have been on my mind, things that I've been doing. My little settlement coming together. Very nice. Yeah, things that I've been doing and experiencing, and I can like kind of elaborate on what I thought about these things. That's very useful for me. But I should do it more regularly. And I just like I need to, I think, lower in my mind the barrier for entry again. The barrier for entry is interesting. What I have to do to actually make it. And just like basically set up the VTubing and everything, and then just go and like be like, well, if it's a 10-minute video of some rambling thoughts, that's okay. It's for me. Maybe someone enjoys it, maybe they don't. Ooh, spelunking. Do you want to do a little spelunking? Let's do it. Or maybe they don't, and that's either way, it's fine. We're all adults except if we're children. That's a bit of a truism. So yeah, anyways, the ideas of what I want to talk about is like, obviously I always talk about like kind of the media that I watch or listen to, or in, oh no, hmm 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 well, he's gonna kill me if he can, but he can, so I'll just leave. That was lucky. That was lucky that it wasn't as deep as one could, as it could have been. Because I could be a dead Minecraft player. No. Maybe for later. I don't overtax my meager faculties right now. So yeah, I usually talk about, well, especially like if I go to opera or theater, I like talking about that, and I like talking about the books that I read. And I've been reading a few books lately. The thing that I've probably been most into is Frieren. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's on Netflix as well. It's anime based on a manga with like a very interesting premise, where basically it's kind of like a traditional role playing party, like an adventure party with. Wait, didn't I have a quarry? Where did I put it? um, with like an adventurer and a warrior and a priest and a magician. And the magician, well, you don't say magician. That's dorky way to say it. Wizard, the wizard, the spellcaster. Um, is an elf, and so the story starts actually after like 10 years of them having adventures, and they defeated the big evil finally, and so they're being rewarded, and now they kind of go their separate ways. But for the elf, who's almost immortal, or she's almost immortal, and that is uh, the character Frieren that the manga is named after. Like time is perceived somewhat differently, and so basically she just spends 50 years doing other stuff, and then is reunited with her friends who are now in their 70s, 80s. And it kind of like has this interesting premise of like how she perceives time and how she um what is this? I didn't what does this do? I've never done this before. Huh. What's the advantage of this? Kinda like owing the soil, but you're like pushing it down. Does this have an advantage? Someone tell me in the comments. Doesn't look great. That's a disadvantage. Oh well. Wanted to make a couple more axes. Pickaxes. So yeah, it's a really interesting premise, and like the story develops from there. It becomes a little bit more of a normal adventure story after that, but there's always like it's quite thought provoking, and always deals with kind of this memory, and it's a good story. I think it's I've been really enjoying it, and I've been reading the manga of that in Japanese, which has been really good for my Japanese learning as well, because there's a lot of words I don't know, but like they get repeated a lot, and just like reading over them, looking up the words, and then just continuing is just a really good way to improve your language ability. Let me see. Okay, it's all still recording, so it seems good. I'm only recording with one screen, so I wanted to check. All right, let's go a bit fast. Man, I have a lot of cobblestone now, so it's kind of working, definitely. Still have a lot of dirt. Always had a lot of dirt. Have I decided on anything else? Put it. Let's put stuff in here for. And I'll figure that out later. Okay. Midday. It's a midday. Very nice. Um, the other things that I read are a book by a German chancellor, Helmut Schmidt, Außer Dienst, Out of Office is what it's called, and he talks about like his takeaways from his political career, what politicians should be like, kind of stories. It's interesting. I would like to maybe talk a little bit about it. I read another book. Have I even? Yeah, I didn't even plan well enough for this, because I did read one more book besides the one that I'm thinking of. But anyway, so the other one is like a really, it really spoke to me. It's called The Verge, and it's about like the period from like 1480s to 1530, something like that. Which kind of like, oh fuck. Oh, well, that worked better than expected. I survived. I didn't even have to pickaxe these two blocks. All right. But yeah, so it basically talks about these massive changes that happened in that early 16th century, like the Reformation and, well, first, Protestantism and, wait, I'm trying to think about it because it has like an interesting premise of like always focusing on a specific person as like an archetype of the changes. So like Christopher Columbus, Isabel of Castile, a famous printer what's his name? I forgot the name. I'll have to look that up. But like kind of like how the early printing economy worked is shown through this guy, and like there's a lot of overlap. One guy is a relatively famous German knight, Götz von Berlichingen, who is a bit of a character. Friedrich Schiller made a play about him and like immortalized him. No, wait, this is not right, is it? Schiller? I think it was actually good. Oh no, I'm showing my lack of education here. Well, I think it's good to actually, now that I think about it. I don't know why I was thinking Schiller. But either way, he kind of had this famous line of like, someone was like asking him to like surrender or something like that, and he's like, "Please tell him he can lick my ass." And it's like this became a very common like expression now in German, which basically means like "fuck off." People just say that very casually in German, but that's, I think, definitely what popularized it. But yeah, so he kind of was like a military entrepreneur, but like in between worlds, and so that was a very interesting aspect of the book too. And I was thinking, I mean, I might just review it like in this Minecraft style, but I have this other idea. I'm gonna like spoil that one too. Basically, I used to play a lot of Crusader Kings, which is like kind of set in a similar time. I was thinking maybe I'll just play that and then talk much more specifically about the different chapters, like do a bit more research to and connect it together over this different game, which I think might be fun. Because I like experimenting. So yeah, that book was really good. I definitely am forgetting one book, and now I'm kicking myself, but that's okay. There were also other media that I watched, namely, let's just stay here for tonight. Maybe. I mean, I might die. Oh, it's raining too. But it's not actually a problem for me because this is a video game, so I don't actually feel the rain. Yeah, I think I'll just get more stone tonight. Yeah, so I went to the ballet, the Nutcracker and the Mouse King. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Maybe we'll talk about this. I actually went to a classical guitar concert, a Spanish guitar concert, yesterday, which was interesting. Could like make a couple of thoughts about that because I do have some. And then I also saw, in the cinema nearby, which is kind of like a bit more artistic, they showed Reservoir Dogs, the debut film by Quentin Tarantino. Very famous. Never seen it in the cinema, but I've seen it a few times outside of the cinema. And I thought it was kind of interesting. It made me think about like how films were made, but back then. I mean, obviously, Tarantino is like a bit of an outlier, but there's still things that I think are kind of different to how we make them now. And I thought about it, and well, just thought maybe I could talk a little bit about that. Then more personal stuff, because I'm going to probably be moving pretty soon. I'm in the process of buying a house. I might have mentioned this before, but like kind of this process, I could just talk a little bit about. It might also be interesting to people, definitely who live in Japan or want to live in Japan, but also just people who buy houses. What you kind of think about, and what is similar and what's different. And in the same vein, I also was thinking about talking a bit about like different ways that people move to Japan and live here, like especially in terms of visa, because that's just a very important thing for foreigners here. They always like think about it and talk about it, and can become a problem. So I just thought I might like summarize this. Also for myself, you kind of like develop a bit of knowledge about the immigration process when you live here and are like confronted with it a lot. And so I think there might be some helpful ideas or advice in there. There's videos like that before, but can't hurt. I made a good amount of pickaxes. It was a smart idea. Then on a personal level also, I want to make a plans for the year video. I mean, now we're already 112 through it. Man, time's moving fast, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I might still do that. Like, what I want to do this year, what my goals are, that kind of thing. Always good to talk about that. Oh yeah, then obviously in terms of politics, which is a feature on this channel, there's a couple of things I was thinking about and actually one was well, generally just the Ukraine war. I wanted to like kind of collect some of my thoughts and what people are talking about and what like their different focuses and what's important to them and what isn't important to them. And I was kind of prompted by a specific incident. Actually, I listened to this a German general, talk about the Ukraine war like regularly, twice a week actually, I think. And I mean, I often disagree with him on a lot of things. But one aspect that was quite interesting to me recently, Germany took a parliamentary vote on. Well, the specifics are not that important, but the thing is, in Germany, parliamentarians are above all their duty to their conscience. So they are meant to decide based on what they think is the best course of action, not party lines. But then in practice, this is very much the opposite. Like, people do vote generally only among party lines, and then there's like discussions of that. But either way, so the opposition party in this case, the Conservative Party, brought forth a policy proposal, which then a lot of people who are ostensibly for it and are like big proponents of, well, especially Ukraine aid, and in some ways like actually very bellicose in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there, voted against this, against their conscience. I guess what they wanted, like basically like, yeah, we are for this, but you can't do it. It's bad because it's against the party line, and then we're going to have trouble with that. And it's kind of interesting because this happened once in a while, but it happened before where the opposite direction, where the left party basically, which is not in government, offered a policy proposal, and the politicians ostensibly for it, and the Green Party and the Social Democratic Party voted against it. And so it's kind of similar enough. I kind of, there's some thoughts I have about like how this tribal nature gets differently applied depending on who you're for. Like, for example, with this general who was somewhat outraged that they voted against it, even though their conscience speaks for it, but probably wouldn't care with the other direction. He seems like a bit of a conservative man. But similar also like the protests of the farmers right now in Germany. Well, versus the protest against the failure to act on climate policy, and how people view it differently based on their allegiances. But I mean, obviously, there's always like some differences too that you can say are the real reason for why you see it's a difference. But it just seems like as a pattern, people have like the people they support and the people they don't support. And yeah, it's interesting. I want to talk about it. I talked about this like already now a bit more than than I intended. But yeah, I will probably make that a topic. And then the other one is obviously there's still ongoing like ongoing war in Gaza. And I mean the other thing is like, I mean, you don't have to talk about everything, but I feel like sometimes you kind of feel the pressure to do that. I mean, I'm not sure where I'm going there with there, but I'll have to develop that idea a bit more, I think. And then, like more recently, I just had a conversation with my friends about climate change and like how society should adjust to it, and how you personally, what you can personally do to, well, basically adapt, I guess, or like protect yourself. And there were some thoughts that came up to this, like both on a very high level in terms of global, but also like a very personal level. What should we do to prepare for dangers for oh no. Oh shit. Oh shit. How did I do this? I mean, the sword would be better, but... Is he going to die? Okay, that was terrible. How did I do this? Like, everything this is also gone. I guess there's a shortcut that I mistakenly pressed, and then it just went into... And then the shield went into the normal inventory. Interesting. Well, I mean, I did say there was a good chance I was gonna die, and I mean, I didn't, so that's good. But yeah, either way, so there's a couple of things like the planetary limits, but also like global warming, and also like personally how to protect yourself, protect your loved ones, that kind of thing. That might be a good topic. Actually, I think, let me see. This looks cool, huh? Terrible too, though. Is that the moon? Look how weird it moves. Oh, I kind of like it. Oh, dangerous. Now, I think I might just leave it here. So basically, that is the different topics that were on my mind so far. Just make like a list about that, and then I think maybe just sitting down, say like 10 minutes, talk about it. This is my goal now. I'm gonna travel soon. Maybe I will record some while traveling, or maybe not. It really depends. When I was in the US, I recorded pretty well for the first few weeks. Either way, I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe again if you haven't subscribed for the first time, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Stay spoopy, my friends.